Now here to show you how to rebuild the crankcase on this JN6 Honda engine. From the previous video, cylinder's already been honed. It's ready to go. So now we have to put the bearings in inside there, inside here, and then we'll show you how to assemble the piston, put the oil seals on, and all that stuff, and then we'll be good to go. So first things first, we'll put the bearings in. So I get a surface down here, so you can see down there. So the trick is, one, this is the first bearing, the main crankcase bearing, you can see here. I'm going to put some engine assembly lube down here in the gallery where it goes, like so. Lube up both the bearing and the gallery where it goes. And you want to tap it in. Seal this down in here. What I have is the cap for a piece of pipe, which fits perfectly over top of there. So you don't want to touch the inner part of the bearing, you want to tap the outer edge of the bearing. And I got my 3/4 impact socket set that'll go over top here. So you want to put this down here, and then we're going to tap it in, like so. See, it's already starting to get in there. See, this one's a little harder to seat. We'll get it. Going down in there. Almost got it. You take this piece off to give us a better area to hit. As you can see, we've almost got it down in there. Almost there. Sound like it's down there? Almost. A little area right here. And there we have it. Okay. So you can see bearing is in and seated. So now we'll put the smaller bearing in, which is a lot easier. So again, we'll move up the gallery where it goes. And we'll move up the bearing. This one I have a socket turned backwards on itself to get this one to tap in. That was a whole lot easier than the first one. Put some assembly lube inside here, on the surface of here, on the surface of the bearing too. Should be good. Okay, so that's the crankcase. We're also going to do while we have the crankcase out is we're going to put the little vent cover, which goes right on like so. Right now just a screwdriver, Phillips head. Okay, so now that's in there. Crankcase is done. Now we have left to do a crankcase cover. Again, we'll lube the galleries where they all go. Getting there. There you go. First one's seated. Now let's move on to the second one. A little bit more. There we go. All right. Oh, my pins fell out. All right, so there you have it. Crankcase, crankcase cover, both done. So I'm going to show you how to put the oil seals in. So I started to just loosely fit the oil seal in. And we'll just tap this guy in. Easy enough. Oil seal down here. good here too. All right. Okay, now we're going to start by assembling the piston and the crankcase and the counterbalance and all that stuff. So first thing you want to do is you want to get a copious amount of oil on the end of the crank on both sides, because you don't want to tear up the bearing or the seal on the end. And we're going to put some assembly lube on the actual journal that goes around the crank. All right, now that's in there. So keyway down. We might have to give it a little bit of a tap. A little bit more of a tap. Get down here on the ground. Tap it in down here. Bear with me. There we go. Back over here. Okay. See, crank's installed. And the next thing to do is to get the piston in there. Let's rotate this down. Okay. Now for the piston, let me show you a little diagram I made here. So this is how the piston looks. And this is how you're going to orient your rings. So if you look on the piston, there is an arrow right there. Okay, so that's the number 5. So top ring is number 1, 2 is the lower oil seal ring, the 3 is the upper oil seal ring, and 4 is the second ring. So as you can tell, so here's the first ring right there at about 45-degree angle. Second ring, 45-degree angle. And it's going to be kind of hard to tell, but there's the opening of the oil ring, the lower one. Then we flip it around. Almost see the upper one right there. All right, then we're going to get our spring compressor in and get this thing in, or a ring compressor in and get this thing in. Now what you want to do is you want to coat this with copious amounts of oil before you put it in. Just bear with me, I'm just going to make sure the rings are in the right spot. Move one ring over. I forgot to mention, the serrated oil ring that goes in between the two rings, I always put at the 5 o'clock position where the two pieces meet. Okay, let's get our spring compressor. The spring compressor is right here. Just get my quarter drive and we'll tighten this bad boy down. First, some more oil on this thing so we can get enough oil to start. Okay. You see, just coat this whole thing up with oil. And coat up the bore with oil too. there you have it. Rings all compressed. So what you want to do here is get these off. These are the connecting rod cap bolts. What you want to do is, one, when you install this thing, the slinger for the oil needs to point down, okay? And the arrows that you see right here need to line up. Put some more assembly lube on this edge of this side. So arrow needs to point down to the bottom of the blocks. Do this very gently. Okay. We're going to stand this bad boy up. And we're going to slowly tap the thing down into the board. Get a little bit more oil on that. I don't like that too much. I'm gonna make sure that's flush too, because what you don't want to do is have this thing pop out. And I'm going to line up the crank. I'm just going to slowly tap this thing in. Slowly turn the crank again to get it lined up. We almost got it on. Almost. That should be on. Now you see the upper ring came off. So, way around that. Up just down there. Gonna readjust the ring. Make sure both rings are in the right spot. I'll show you how to do this. So move just a hair. You're tapping these things in. Okay. Tap it back on. And there we have it. Fix the problem. Okay, so now what we're going to do, go back down here, let me show you. It is now seated on the crank. So now we got to install our bolts and torque this thing down. And the torque is 14 foot-pounds. Once again, oil slinger down, arrow and arrow line up. Get this on. So there you go. Now the kit came with these lock rings. I'm gonna put them on. Put on each crank. Both rods. Now you got to put some more assembly lube on the end before you torque these down. So here's one bolt. Put some more lube on. Let's start these in with your finger. And I'll just use this little wrench because it's a tight spot just to get it started. So that one started. Running a little bit more before we move to the other one. Move on to the other one. So once again, we put the lube on, the engine assembly lube. We got to put this one on, which is a little bit tighter of a fit. Yep, lost it down there. Once it gets this started, then we can run it in. It's kind of a tight fit. Oops. It's in there. Let's start with our hands. It's kind of a tight fit. Okay. There's one. Okay, get the other one. Now tuck these guys down. That'll be it for this part. Finish this part, and then we're going to let the GoPro cool down. Now let's torque it. So I said 14 foot-pounds. Now that the piston's installed and the rod's torqued down, we're going to install the counter shaft and the camshaft. On my old engine, camshaft was no good, so I picked up a genuine Honda or a Yamaha one online. So what you want to do is put some assembly lube where the bearing surface goes on both this and the counter shaft. So before installing it, we need to put camshaft assembly lube on it. So that's what we have here, and you want to put a liberal amount on the lobes of the camshaft. You also want to put this on the lifters. Prior to installing them. So here are the lifters. So you're going to put assembly lube on here, camshaft lube on here. Now the lifter assembly is down in here. So we'll install the lifters. Here's one lifter. Install the second lifter. This one's a little tougher. So lifter's installed. Now what we'll do is we'll put camshaft assembly lube on the surfaces of the lifters. Like so. Now important thing is, you know, this motor has timing marks. You'll see the timing mark right there marked with paint, and the other timing mark on the upper gear marked with paint. And make sure these line up. So first things first, put the counter shaft in. See the time mark for the circle. So you want to get that in here, seal it in the bearing, seat it into the bearing, and so you want to line up these marks, and like that. Now get the camshaft in here. Same thing. You want to align it with this the big mark right here to that painted mark right there. A little finicky. There we go. So as you can see, timing marks aligned. Timing marks aligned. Okay. Now I'll put a little bit of engine oil, a little bit of oil on these things, and then we'll be ready to put the cover on. Now we're going to install the side cover, which is very easy. Just make sure that the area is clean, both ends. I did put assembly lube in where each bearing goes, and where the crank, the counter shaft, and the camshaft will ride. And then I'm going to put some clear RTV just to make real sure we don't have any oil leaks. And I'm also going to put thread locker on each of these bolts. And we'll get this started. So just want to put a small bead of clear on here, very small, around each hole. You see the alignment pins right here. Here's our gasket. Just line it over the alignment pins like so. Just lay it down like so. And then put it on the other surface right here. And as you can tell, I forgot to mention, I did install the oil level sensor, and it's not on the video. You can see it right here, and it tracks through and it comes through this little piece here. Make sure you put a little bit of dab there. Okay, so now let's install the side cover. Get all this stuff to line up. Go. Alright, so now we'll put thread locker on the bolts. And there's two torque specifications. One are the 14mm bolts that you see here. Those are torqued to 27 foot-pounds. And then the rest of the 12mm ones are torqued to 19 foot-pounds. Just install them loosely. And remember, these are the 14mm up top, the ones closest to the piston. We'll do is we'll torque everything to 19, and we'll torque the other two to 27. And I'm just going to go in a crisscross pattern, try to get the gasket down evenly. I'm going to set the torque wrench now to 19. Yeah, we'll cut from that. Sorry, the thing fell down. A little bit too much jerking around. Then we'll go back around, check the torque on these. Now get the other ones up to 27, and we are done for the crankcase. So, and there you have it, all done, all together, all ready to go. So now the next video, we'll show you how to put the cylinder head together, and then we'll put these, mate the cylinder head up to the block, and then we'll be good to go. All right. Any other questions, just feel free to message me on the channel.